Good afternoon, Schools United, Information Technology, otherwise known as SUIT, Peer Networking Group. It is 1:50 p.m. Meeting starts at 2 p.m. So let's see who attends. Meeting is being recorded. And we have to think of some topics to discuss as a peer network group. What topics to discuss? What would be good topics? Let's ask Copilot. Copilot said, ask me anything. So I said, what topics would be good to talk about in an IT peer networking group today? Certainly. Emerging technologies. Oh, emerging technologies talk about itself. Of course. Consider these engaging topics, emerging topics, AI, blockchain, IoT, quantum computing. Discuss their impact on business potential applications, cybersecurity, best practices, threat intelligence, secure coding, zero trust architecture. That means no one is allowed in until proven okay. Everybody is bad. Incident response, remote work challenges, collaboration tools, security, employee well-being, cloud adoption, DevOps culture, automation, career development, certification, skills, career paths. That's right. What do you do once you become the top IT person in the school? Where do you go? Project management, agile, scrum, vendor relationships. Yes. Who gets a lot of cold calls and just says, not another cold call. Thank you for calling back. Not very good vendor relationships. Well, I rather like the answer to that. That's a good selection. Yeah. Who went to FETC? Yes, let's ask some questions. Who went to FETC? And the biggest takeaway was AI. Yes. Shoot 6/24. Today is February the 6th, 2024. We went to FETC 2024. What was your biggest takeaway? What was the biggest takeaway? I really liked book. I really liked book Baker. Let's open book Baker. Bookbaker.com. What's the difference between, let's look at the difference between, I'm going to say bookmaker And what's the difference between Bing, Microsoft's and Google's AI? Versus Google. Biggest difference is Google refuses to do Christian integration. Try it. Just ask it to do Christian integration. It says, I'm sorry, it's beyond my scope and legal ability. Bing says, certainly. Microsoft versus Google. Let's do, what should we write? Let's try them both out. We'll try Bing and then Google. So we'll try Copilot. Copilot. And then we'll try Bard. Bard.google.com. And I'm going to write something like, let's try the same prompt. I'm going to try, I am a non-school teacher in a Christian Christian school. I'm a high school science teacher. I'm going to say biology. I'm going to go chemistry. Chemistry teacher in a Christian school. Please make lesson for this grade chemistry with a biblical perspective about the chemical composition of water and its significance in today's creation. These include scripture, references. Is anyone waiting in this meeting? It is now 1:57. I forgot the right link. I hope I put the right link. Nobody here yet. Zoom says it has an AI companion. I wonder what that is. $1:58. What have I done wrong? IT at Schools United. Okay, I'm going to send an invitation to IT at Schools United.us. IT, Schools United. Hey, it's 2 o'clock. No one's here. Sent out another invite link to this meeting. I hope it's the same link. All this IT expertise, and I feel like I don't understand Zoom meetings and how to make them happen reliably. See if I got that email. Well, I didn't get it. Sent items. Sent items. IT. I sent it to IT at Schools United.us. Didn't get it. Why didn't I get the invite? Oh, because I'm getting spammed. Oh. Okay, what's going on here? Maybe if I we have another attendee. Hello, Jonathan. Hi.
Hey, bud, how you doing?
I'm doing really well. Thanks for joining the meeting.
Absolutely.
It was a little bit of a spur of the moment, last minute. So thanks very much. Sorry for the short notice.
No worries, Ken.
How's your how's your week been going?
Can't complain, you know?
Yeah, God is good. That's right. The Leslie. Hello, Leslie.
Natalie.
Hi, welcome. Oh, you're muted. Hi, Leslie. Hey.
Hey, good afternoon.
Hey, hey.
Sorry for the short delay on a bit of a spur of the moment, but we'll see how everybody's doing. Schools United next week. Is
That's
your
right.
your entire schools going?
Yes.
Yeah, ours is. We closed school for the day. So we had, I think you were the 2 people who said yes to attending, I believe. Accepted. Oh, Colette. Colette said she'd attend. And Jonathan. Great. So I thought of a topic, but did you? I thought of the topic being FETC. Did you either go to the FETC the week before last?
Not this year. I went to the 3 years prior, but this year I just couldn't make it happen. Too much going on. I couldn't leave for the time this time.
Yeah. Jonathan, did you go to the Future Education Technology Conference in Orlando?
I did. I did. Were you, did you guys make it to last year's to New Orleans?
Yeah, yeah.
Nice. I hear they signed the contract again just so they could marketed not like a Florida thing. So I believe next year, if not not next year, 2 years, it's gonna be back in New Orleans.
Yeah.
Oh, it's not next year because I thought they were going to try to do every other year.
Yeah.
Okay.
So next year is confirmed back at the convention center, and then I believe it's the next one.
Following year. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember when it was called the Florida Educational Technology Conference,
Right.
and it was
Mhm.
all about trying to push technology into the education realm. Now we don't have to do any pushing. Now, when you talk education future, you're talking technology anyway.
Mhm.
Yeah, there's no way around it.
Changed its name. Um, so I figured we could, what did you think of? I thought of talking about the takeaways from the FETC and what are the biggest takeaways. And of course, the big one that hit us in the face hard was the AI. It's just everywhere. That and how we're going to integrate it into the schools. The thing that I find confusing about AI is that at the conference, everybody was saying, make sure you give the students the skills of the future, which is prompt engineering, learn how to use the tool. Oh, and by the way, it's not allowed to be used by anyone under 18. I'm not quite sure because of the SIPA and the all the other child protection acts. So I'm not exactly sure how we're going to teach our students to use it when they can't use it without being 13 or 18 or something. That's my biggest question. But as a tool for teachers and administrators, it's really cool.
Mhm.
I showed my high school principal, and he was a little nervous about it. And then he said, "Oh, do you think I could make the AI make my student speeches for the graduation? It takes me like 60 hours of work, 2 hours per student." I said, "Try it." And he just tapped the button and said, "Oh, I'd like to make one for Ken Sun Nile." And he said a few things. And then it suddenly created this beautiful speech for him for the testimonial. He was really blown away by that. And I said, "Well, no one's made it before. It's original. You created it." And anyway, so
I've been using it recently. I've used it a few times for art, some of the art AI. So we had homecoming, and my son's a freshman, and they had to come up with a design for their freshman banner. So we opened up the art AI, gave it some prompts about kind of the style he was looking for, who was the team we were playing, so that the other team's mascot was in there. So it was like a knight stepping on a snake and that kind of thing, and a cartoon style, and it designed the whole image. So that was
That's
pretty
pretty
cool.
neat.
Yeah.
it is mind-blowing. Yeah. Um, the two main things I feel like I learned about the AI is this importance between the free versions and the enterprise, either paid versions or school versions, because the free versions, whatever you give it, becomes added to the machine learning algorithms. So anything you give it and the output becomes part of the massive
Yeah.
addition that this
At the
intelligence.
end of the day, nothing is ever free. You're either paying with it through your data. It's being stored somewhere and being sold to someone,
Mm.
or you're paying for it outright. I mean, it just depends what's really, what's really happening with that specific data. But man, I honestly with AI, I think it's so beneficial. I don't see us being productive without it. Really. But yeah, it's creating those parameters to keep that data safe and the users in turn safe as well. But yeah, I agree with you, man. It's extremely beneficial. I think a lot of people, if they don't know about it, it's weary of it. So it's just breaking those molds. But yeah, it's a good takeaway nonetheless.
So my big question about the data was that since my principal used the free version, and he said, Niall, my son, is a senior, he's graduating, he likes marine science, he likes having ice cream with the principal. He said all these things that were incorporated into the speech. My question is, when you do a Google search, is that data now available? Like, has that information that he provided about my son now become public?
Now it's within the platform. I'm assuming he's using like ChatGPT.
He was using Copilot at that point, which is
Copilot.
ChatGPT.
It's uh within itself. It's not sharing to a third party. It's just growing its knowledge base. So no,
Hmm.
let's say I were to say I love ribeye steaks. Jonathan Borrego loves ribeye steaks. If I go to Google and say, what's John's favorite steak? It's not going to populate
What if
ribeye.
you ask the same AI machine that question after you've already told it the answer?
Uh, you could try. I mean, you have to create an account anyway. I'm not sure it's going to save it under that specific account and not, the overall knowledge base. It's a great question.
My
I don't.
hope, my hope was that it was learning how to create what appears to be intelligence, that it was learning how people react and what responses they want, rather than actually collecting more data. And
No,
that was my hope. Yeah.
no.
Yeah. The other really big thing I think I've learned from it is the very big difference between Microsoft's and Google's use of it, because when we ask for, I could be wrong, I haven't tested this theory completely, but when we ask Google to do biblical references, Christian perspective, it refused. It said that's beyond my legal bounds. I can point you in direction of information, but I can't do it for you. Whereas Bing Copilot did it beautifully with beautiful. We could test. Should we test that theory?
Mhm.
Let's test it. I'm going to share. I'm going to share a screen. I haven't actually done this. So that doesn't do it. I'm trying to share a screen.
What that was in one of the last keynotes, no? The AI presentation.
It was everywhere.
Oh, it was everywhere.
I went to at least um, I would say I went to at least at least
Well,
6 sessions
I
about it.
know a lot of them will do biblical integration because I actually had to speak in chapel a couple months ago and I knew the topic that I wanted to speak in. So I gave really specific parameters into the length of the message, topic, all that kind of stuff. And I specifically said, create a Bible study. And it did a full out Bible study,
Wow,
references. It was awesome.
Okay.
that's cool.
Well, this is Copilot, and I just before the meeting, I typed a prompt. I'm a high school chemistry teacher in a Christian school. Please make a lesson plan for 10th grade chemistry with a biblical perspective about the chemical composition of water and its significance in God's creation. Please include scripture references and a question sheet with a grading rubric. Let's see what Bing does. Copilot.
I love how polite you were.
Right?
That was one major takeaway as well from the conference. Every single speaker, I said I went to at least a dozen. What? Why isn't it doing it? Uh, oh, it thinks. Yeah. Ask me anything. I think it thinks I'm trying to speak to it. Yes. So what they were saying, everybody that spoke about it said that the nature of your response that you get, the nature of the response is going to be mirror your language. So if you speak abruptly and rudely, you'll get an abrupt, rude response. If you speak really politely and explain how important it is to you and how nice you want to be, it will it'll do it back. Now, why is this not working? Are you able to help me? Something went wrong. All right, so let's start over. Why isn't it working? I think it's because I'm recording Zoom.
Mm.
I gotta do stop recording. Ask me anything. Go. Okay.
Hmm.
Now it's doing a response. Are you seeing the Copilot's response? Are you seeing my screen where it's
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
um, okay, so it's doing a nice job. Gave us some reference, Genesis, of course. Worksheets.
Yeah, I mean, I think it hit all your marks.
Yeah.
Did a nice rubric. All right, so let's try this same thing in Bard, which is Google's version of it. Same prompt. I'm sorry, I can't do anything religious. That's what I'm finding.
Hmm.
Google refuses. Says
Makes sense.
I can't integrate a religious perspective. I can do it without a religious perspective. So I'm finding that's a really significant difference with Google and Microsoft.
Hmm.
That's consistently every time I've tried something like that.
Hmm.
All right. While I've got
Well,
you,
Ken, I think you should write a kindly worded letter to Silicon Valley, see if somebody answers.
yeah. All right. So another AI site that blew my mind is Bookbaker. This guy's just started it up now this year, I guess, or last year. He's got 5 employees, and he'll make you a textbook for $10 to $20, and it's yours. Once you make it, it's yours. You can do anything you like with it. You could give it to all your students, so you don't have to buy textbooks anymore. $10, $20, and you could even sell it. So I'm going to say try it. Choose a language, English. What subject should we make a textbook in?
Hmm.
I think food would be fantastic
Food? Which grade level?
for elementary students.
All right. Um, um, we are Christian school. Please make a textbook with biblical
Yeah.
perspective,
Give green eggs and ham a biblical worldview.
biblical worldview about the foods around the world and what special characteristics of the environment around them and is food possible. Please include Bible references, question sheets, and languages. All right. So we're not actually going to be able to see the textbook unless we pay for it. I said to him, "Can we get a sample?" He goes, "Nah, you got to pay for it." So 10 or 20 bucks, and you can add chapters and remove chapters.
Can you edit chapters? Like if
Yes.
you don't agree with some of the content?
Yep, you can change everything. So here's the
Okay.
title.
Okay.
He's just called it. He came up with the title "God's Global Grocery: Exploring Foods Around the World."
Hmm.
So here's the chapters that it came up with: Introduction to Food, Biblical Perspective, North, South, Europe, Africa, Asia, Oceania. So we could add a chapter or subtract a chapter because it's paid for by chapter and pictures.
Okay.
You can add and remove them, or you can just say, okay, maximum quality, whatever. So at the moment it's $10. Sidebars, we're going to do biography, further reading, did you know, quick facts, famous quotes, test your knowledge, review questions, multiple choice answers, images. So if we make images, which are going to be AI created images for the point, technical drawing. So we're up to $16. So here's what we have to pay for it. I haven't done it yet, but I'm gonna lash out and spend the $16 one day and see what it comes up with. There was a guy standing next to me and him when I was asking questions with the company owner, and he was a publisher and he was asking questions. I said, hang on a minute, what if this guy standing alongside you throws in a question, gets the textbook you've generated, he pays you 20 bucks, and then what if he sells it for $2 million? And the guy said, I'll be very pleased for him. So he's really creating this amazing tool. So it could revolutionize how we go about buying
So
text.
do you completely own the rights to the book then?
Yep.
So like you only have to pay for one book, but let's say you decide this is going to be the textbook for your class.
Yep.
You can copy, bind, do whatever you want
Sell
as
it,
many times.
That's
sell
insane.
it, give it away.
Wow.
Yep, it's original. No one can claim copyright to it. It'll do a bibliography, reference lists, I believe, if necessary. It's a fascinating concept. One, I think the idea of textbooks isn't going to last that long anyway. So I'm not sure how
Right.
long we're going to be doing textbooks. Secondly, it's the validity. You've got to check it yourself because it's sort of collecting the massive information out there on the internet and compiling it. So we're sort of assuming that it's able to make it true, but it's not. It hallucinates and makes up stuff and gets stuff wrong. So you have to be pretty careful. You have to be pretty careful like that. But anyway, I thought that blew my mind when that's an option. And like you said, the image one's really cool.
That's unreal. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna stop sharing for someone else.
What
wants to share.
format, I wonder, does it come in? Is it just
Good question. Good question. It's this guy's only making this service right now as we speak. And at the moment, it's I think a link that you have to give someone a link and it comes up on the screen. But it's sorry, I'm in a meeting. I'll call you back.
goodbye?
Bye. So he said in the short future, like 3 months, he'll make it a PDF file that you can distribute, something like that. But at the moment, it's not editable at the moment. He said in a couple months' time, he'll make it editable. He's working on it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's not editable right now.
I think right now it's not. You
So
change,
whatever it is. Like,
yeah,
okay.
yeah. I think you change the topics, the chapters, but once it's generated, you can't edit it. But soon, I think that's one of the first things he's going to work on, making it editable.
Yeah.
I think it's just going out, reaching out to the other AI engines and compiling it, and he's sort of putting together the queries and stuff. I don't think he's generating a new AI engine. He's just using what's out there from. It looks like mainly Bing. So what do you remember from FETC, Jonathan?
Yeah, fantastic PGA Expo.
Oh yeah. Did you go to that? Yeah, I went to that.
Oh, you bet I did.
I parked on the wrong side and went there. I thought, wow, FETC has not just people and music and bands and alcohol and and then I'm going, hang on,
Fantastic.
this isn't FETC.
No, FETC I focused on more of data security, and then split my time between the two conferences. But yeah, we're a Google school, so we use the Google Suite. So I focus more on like Google compliance. But yeah.
Were there any updates to Google that stood
No.
out to you or anything new?
Nothing noteworthy. No.
Okay.
I learned something incredible, which I'm dying to try out. I haven't tried it out. Google just, I don't know, maybe it was a year ago or 2 years ago. They made a little client for the Windows login, so you can offer a Windows login using Google credentials. So rather than having your Active Directory to log into the Windows, you can have the users enter their Google username and password. They get authenticated by Google and then logs you into the Windows computer. And if you've typed in the profile into the Google user setting, it'll log the person into that profile. If it doesn't exist, it'll make a new profile. I think that's really amazing. I'm going to try it, but I don't know if it authenticates the user to the network services.
I doubt it.
Yeah, printers and the file servers.
Yeah, I just don't see those two worlds working
well together.
Yeah.
More like a colliding, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to try it out, but because I was amazed by it, I'll try it out hopefully before Friday next week and let you know what I think of it.
Well, Talking about a little bit of everything, do have a question. I'm looking to update my intercom system. And I saw that somebody recently did something. So, any recommendations?
Ken's the man to talk to. We've talked about this because we both installed the same intercom system at our schools recently. So he's the pro at it. So I will defer to him.
I'm gonna dispute that. Leslie's the original. Yeah, I came to Leslie and asked her what would she would. Oh, it wasn't what would Leslie recommend Wasega, and it's beautiful. It's incredible. It's expensive. We spent a good 120 grand on it, but it is. I personally think it's worth every 20,000.
Is that something that y'all are willing to like demo for me? Like
Yeah,
if I were to pass by and say,
yeah, of course, of course. I'll demo it right away. Let's
perfect.
let's do a screen share.
Ken sent me pictures once. He had my name up on the
Yeah,
panels and stuff.
I was gonna try and do that.
He's gotten himself into a little bit of trouble a few times, though, I think,
Yeah.
with some of the bells he's created. Am I right?
Oh yeah. I had a 5 minute
Yeah.
warning bell. I was in my class. I had a class for a short time, and I said to my students, "Oh, wouldn't it be fun if there was a 5 minute warning bell that went beep?" So we recorded my voice. I went beep, and every 5 minutes before the end of lesson, my voice would go beep, and all the students in the class would giggle and laugh, and it would destroy every lesson. So that lasted about 2 hours. But I thought it was a great idea. The students loved it. So and okay, so there are two devices in the system. There is the guts of it, I guess should say, would be the PBX. So they're all VoIP speakers or VoIP phones. So
Okay.
this is the PBX. You start with the PBX and never touch it
Is
again.
that something that you're integrating to your existing voice over IPs?
I'm sure it would, but we didn't have any existing thing that was worth integrating it into, so it did not integrate into anything. We had a radio frequency walkie-talkie system that we bought three years ago for
So
about
all on radio wavelengths,
Oh, I don't know what
like
wavelength.
antennas everywhere.
There were antennas everywhere. Every classroom had a little walkie-talkie. It looked like an intercom, but it was a walkie-talkie. It was miserable, miserable. Stay away from it. Don't touch
Well,
RF.
it's what I'm doing now. That's why trying to pivot.
Oh, you're doing the RF walkie intercom?
Yeah.
Is it Simplex or something like that? Or Visiplex?
Yeah, Visiplex.
Visiplex. We could not get it to work. We spent more and more money on it. We
I mean,
added,
it works. It just does one thing and one thing alone, but I mean, it does work.
we couldn't get our
It's just not two-way.
really, no, well, yeah, we had it two-way. We could talk. We could push and hold the button and the teachers could talk back to the office, but uh it's some you could barely understand anything. The bells were never in time. I mean, they didn't like it at all. But this will not integrate with that, I wouldn't think at all. It might integrate with an analog speaker system. Rick Geyer said he's got it integrating his VoIP system, but we just started from scratch. So this is the PBX side of it. Every speaker has is just an extension, so it's the same as a phone. It's the same as a phone, but it doesn't have a keypad. It's just got one button. So you press the button that dials a number. You press it, long press it, dials a second number. And when someone does a page, it auto answers and turns the volume up and all
Does
that.
this all go back to a single head end?
Uh,
Like a single docking station, so to speak?
no, it's all Ethernet, it's all VoIP, it's all IP. So it's all around. It's just using the current.
Right, but who controls if there's a call out of a classroom?
Not understanding question. Sorry.
Um, you have an incident in a classroom and teacher calls, that signal goes somewhere, no?
Oh yeah. If they don't have a phone, they only have a one call button. So if they
Right.
press it once, it calls it's pre-configured to call an extension, a phone, and it calls the closest office.
Got
So we've got 3 schools. If you're a high school teacher, it calls the high school office. They answer. If they don't answer, you long press, it calls the other number, which is the main front office.
Got it.
So it just goes
Yeah,
to
we
one
don't
person.
we don't have ours set up like that. Like our teachers don't initiate communication from Wasega. We still have, all the phones and everything, so they're still using that.
Got it.
It can be once we call a classroom, there is the option for the teachers to respond through the system, just as like a speaker call kind of a thing. But whenever our teachers, it integrated with the phone system we already have.
Got it.
So they just do that. But any teacher, if they have the right codes, can pick up their phones and dial certain extensions and do announcements to different areas of or departments or things like that.
Yeah. So we've got event. So this is the call center side of it, and we've got a dozen or so pre-configured extensions. So when somebody dials that, it calls a particular zone. So 700 is the all call that calls every speaker, and then if the high school calls 709, that calls out just to so that does an announcement to just the high school speakers. If they want to call a particular classroom, they just dial the number of the classroom, which matches the classroom's extension. There's some live. Oh, that's live. Pre-configured. These are cute. This one here, 555. If someone dials 555, it plays the fight song all around the school. That's fun. The bell, the scheduler, we got calendars. So today we got that schedule to the high school, to the middle school, to separate zone. What else? Sort of hard to sort of does anything you want it to. What I'm trying to do a demo. If I did a demo, let's see. Let's look at zones. I'll look at the endpoints. I'll just see which. No, I better look at zones. I'm going to look at the test zone and see which speakers are going to make a noise if I make a noise. Test zone. Test. Okay, so that's.
Is there a way to see device types here, like overall?
Yeah. We could go to the endpoints. That's saying what each endpoint is. So it's either a big outdoor speaker, they're great big horns that make a lot of noise. The IP speaker is just a little tiny speaker with nothing else. The IP display, that's the one that has a clock on it. I would say get them all with a clock. The clock has been a game changer. Every classroom and hall has a beautiful, perfect.
Is that just like an analog clock with a speaker built into it?
Yeah, there's one right outside
An
there.
analog or a digital?
I'm gonna see if I can.
Because ours all have the
Digital.
digital.
Yeah, digital.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a box. It's a digital
Okay.
display
Got it.
of the clock, and then there's the speaker. But then it also can share any like announcements on it as well. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, you can write words on it.
Yeah, so it can be like block 1 or break or block 2 or lunch or whatever. Or
Yeah,
code red, code yellow, that kind of thing.
Got it.
yeah. Trying to get onto the Zoom meeting. How do I get onto the Zoom meeting? I'm just trying to get onto the Zoom meeting, and on my phone I can walk out the door. But I'm not sure I can do it. You'd think there'd be a way to do it. Where did the email? The email went to school. Oh goodness. Suit. Please join the Zoom meeting. Okay, here we go. So I'm just going to join it again. I better mute it. Better mute. I'm just going to mute this.
I think it can't.
I think that might have been a total fail. Did you see the intercom speaker?
Oh yeah, that was great, man. That was great.
Sorry. We could, when Leslie first, I was thrilled that it was working, and I said, Leslie, look at this. And we just made a little message come up on the digital display saying Leslie's the best or something like that. And it was playing a music. So if we wanted to do, let's do a test on a endpoints scheduler. I'm trying to think if I could test it. My brain's just gone. Triggers, endpoints. I was just going to do a demo, but
It's funny. I'm having a rep come out on Thursday, so it works out perfect.
all
For
right.
Wasaga?
Yeah.
Oh, perfect.
Let's do event triggers. Must be a way I can do a test. Let's all call event trigger. Oh, events. Here we go. Event configuration. Oh, here we go. Here's some events. I'll do a test event. Here's a fun test. I'm going to test this event. I'll open the door.
How did you guys pay for this? Like internal? Or did you guys use grants?
We used our Eanes grant.
Got it.
So the door's open. I'm going to run this test event, and I'm going to run it just on the test zone. The other speaker.
Have it built in with your access control as well?
What is it? Sorry.
You have it
No,
built
ours is two
access
separate
control?
systems.
Oh, two separate systems.
So yeah, there's the text that's going to say. I did not hear that. Oh, it's actually running, but for some reason I turned down that speaker. So quiet. So here we can go to the individual speaker. The one outside my desk is there, so we'll turn up the volume. So now the volume is louder. I'll go to the events. Maybe I didn't have any sound played. Oh, maybe it was just a picture. Test event. Where's my test event? Special fun test. Label from file. It does say it's going to play a test. From that, you can make upload any WAV file. Save changes, test event, send it to the test zone, submit.
This is a test of the speaker devices. This is only a test.
Did you hear that? It said this is a test alert.
Yep.
Anyway, so I mean it's
Speaker devices. This is only a test.
doing it again. I probably told it to do it twice. Yeah, repeat.
Yeah, it says a 2 count. Yeah.
So it's really, really nice. What other questions would you have, Jonathan?
Oh no, I'm good.
It had that text appear on the digital display. Normally
Yeah.
it's just the clock. Normally it's just the time. But it's so if somebody said, "Oh, we want a new schedule," I think Thursday, this week Thursday, it's normally we have a chapel schedule, but apparently they don't want the chapel schedule, so we would go to calendars, and we'd go to whichever calendar we want to use. The high school bell schedule for Thursday, we have excluded these days. Thursday. Oh, I need to add a range. No, I know we don't need to add one there. We need to add the normal schedule. We're going to add the normal schedule. I'm going to add a Thursday, just this Thursday, to the end of the Thursday. So now I've added Thursday to that schedule. So if I look at the calendars, and look at the high school bulk schedule Thursday. Now I've got two beginning. Here we go. Now I'm going to cause a big mess because now I've got the regular Thursday schedule. Period 2 begins at, no, that looks right. Begins, ends. That looks okay. Anyway, if I wanted to change it, I would just say, oh, here we go. We've got Thursday and the regular one. So I'm going to click on that one and say exclude this date. So I've now excluded the Thursday schedule. So now it's just, that looks better. So now it's just the regular schedule on Thursdays. That's how easy it is to change the schedule. So if someone says, oh, you made a mistake, there's a wrong time, we just change the time on the fly straight away. I feel like I didn't demo it very well. I'm
You
gonna
did
stop,
great.
I'm gonna stop sharing.
Well, and he said he's got a rep coming out in, was it
Yeah.
Wednesday?
Thursday.
Okay, so
Yeah.
you'll get the whole spiel.
Yeah, it just works out. I had no idea.
Is his
Yeah.
name Daniel?
No idea. Yes, his name is Daniel. Yes.
He's the one that sold, he's the one that sold it to us. He's nice. Yeah. And from my experience, what he says is basically correct. They work as advertised. They're really good, but expensive. So I paid the company to do all the work. He doesn't do any work. He's just a reseller. He's nothing but a broker. He'll hire another company on your behalf to do the installation. They'll also buy the equipment. So we just, the 120,000 was someone else doing all the work. So they bought all the switches because I needed a dozen new switches to plug them in. They pulled a new Ethernet wire to every speaker. So every single speaker has a direct home run to the nearest wiring closet. So there was a good dozen switches that had to be purchased. They purchased all the speakers and the satellite speakers if there were 2 on 1 zone, 2 on 1 speaker. And then they programmed it to start with. So the equipment itself was probably only half that cost, maybe. Yeah, probably half. And then half of it was installing the cables and the speakers and programming it. So if you did it yourself, it could be half that much. The company he hired to do the work quoted prices like double the prices for the switches and the speakers. And I went online and said, but this is the price of the switch and the speaker.
What did you go with for your infrastructure stuff?
We use Ubiquity for everything.
Like Ubiquity switches?
Yeah, we go Ubiquity everything. And so they were charging more and they said, yeah, we got to make some money on this. And I said, yeah, we haven't got that much money to spend. So
Well, I hope they didn't upcharge too much for a Ubiquity product, but
they didn't when I called them on it. They said, okay, we'll give it to you for what it costs. They wanted to make money on every aspect of it. So you just got to work it. But it is expensive, even if you do it yourself. But if you do it yourself, I mean, they had 6 or 8 people for 3 months working on it all through the summer.
God.
Yeah, they had 100 home runs of Ethernet cable, speaker installed in every classroom. So that's 50 speakers, probably about 20 in the halls, all the phones. It was a lot of work. So
Well,
yeah.
good for you, man. You have a nice little toy.
Yeah. All right. What else do we have for I did have a question.
Did either of your schools use or receive EANS grant funding? You did? Okay. Were you EANS 1 or EANS 2, Jonathan?
Both.
Okay. So I don't know if you were planning on using this for the sound system or if you still have funding left.
I still have something. Depends on what it comes out to. I don't know if I'll be able to cover everything.
Okay.
If anything, I do have E-rate funds that I could point towards it. So
okay. I was just gonna say because I did get all this approved through my EANS 2
nice.
funds. So
I got a really dumb question. What's EANS?
That's funding, brother. It's a little late in the game, but if you have somebody that
what sort of funding is it?
It's
It was a grant that started about 4 years ago. It was through COVID
Oh yeah, we got that. Yeah.
for educational technology and that kind of thing.
Yeah, we got a lot of money for that. We got yeah, I think 100 grand or something like that. Yeah. Yeah, and we had it spent my business office spent months trying to demonstrate all the expenses and everything. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well,
We-
this was, a significant amount, but then you had 4 years to use it, and you could use it toward educational technology or, um, you know, sanitizing, things like that. But the majority of our furniture, we got new furniture for the upper school and stuff, and it did the access control and the WSAGA and stuff like
Yeah,
that.
we got
And then we were able to upgrade our infrastructure, switches and all that kind of stuff. So
I had an interesting question. I just recently took over our church's technology. So we used to be like a tenant to the church, and just the network just appeared suddenly. Miraculously, we had plug and play network, and the church got tired of this consultant. And they said, "Do you know anyone that could run the network for us?" I said, "Yeah, I could. I'll do it." And so now I run the whole network that was the church's responsibility. So I'm interested whether you have a separate department that does the hardware infrastructure, or whether you both do it yourself, like the router, for example, for the internet, that sort of thing.
For me, I do it myself.
And right, do you
I
have,
don't do any of it. I'm educational technology. I've told my work for years. They keep trying to pull me more into ET, but I'm IT, and I'm like, no, I'm ET. But we actually outsource a lot of our everything IT, really. And so I'm more in a management role, but we use Citadel, which is an Citadel ITS. And so they run our help desk, and they provide somebody on site a few days a week to assist with our IT people. And so they run all of the updating infrastructure, doing all that stuff. So
do you know what they cost? Or is that
a lot. I don't know exactly, but I know it's a lot. But I know that it's much more efficient than trying to have one. For us, we always tried to have one person do it all, and then you burn that person out, and then they get to the point where they just can't maintain that anymore. And so, but we're not in a position to have this huge team being a smaller school. So this was a great middle of the road for us. But the church uses it as well, so it really works out well.
Nice.
So then we're just in place to kind of tell them what we need, manage it, approve, but we have people that we can go to because we can't know everything. So
Right.
yeah, it's helpful.
Yeah, I said to the church, "You pay how much to this company? We could hire 2 people for that." And they said, "Okay,
Right.
you do it." But I didn't get the 2 people. I got an extra
Yeah.
half a
And
pound.
therein lies the problem. Why put on 2 people what we can sucker one person into doing for 5 years until they're in the fetal position crying somewhere?
That's right. Yeah. Well, our halftime assistant went full time, so that's great.
Okay.
Now we run the whole thing. But I found that we had 20 switches all around the school that had 10 gigabit capability, but they weren't plugged in. So I just bought a nice 28 port aggregation, 28 port 10 gig switch, and in the space of a week upgraded the backbone from 1 gig to 10 gig, which I thought was really cool.
Yeah.
No one notices. It's just
Simple module. Yeah.
we've still only got 2 gig internet, or 2 1 gig internets. We've still only got 1 gig to the desktop, so no one's going to notice any different. But it's keeping it up to
Oh,
date.
you will. You will.
Things getting less mashed up. Hopefully less.
Yeah, man. Well, Ken, if you ever need any help, feel free to call me.
Thanks, Jonathan. I will.
Love to help out.
Yeah,
I won't be able to help you, Ken, but I'll pray for you.
that's everything. That's totally everything. Yeah, yeah. So, did anyone else come up with some um, things to talk about?
Nope.
Well, we'll meet on Friday next week, right?
Yes.
What they say.
Should we have some topics for next week?
I thought it'd be interesting to see if there's some new schools or new people, hopefully. I'm going to be a little busy over the next few months because our elementary principal is moving. And so I will be filling in as interim elementary principal for the remainder of the year.
Oh,
I
there
was-
you go. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Congratulations type of a thing.
Don't call me to help, but I'll pray for you.
There, there you go. No, before I moved into ed tech, I was the assistant principal over there for years or whatever. So, but now I'm still going to be wearing two hats. So if I decline meetings, it's nothing personal. I'm just probably drowning.
Perfect. I'll take offense
Well,
to it.
in that case, do call. We can help with the drowning prayers and stuff. So I did have a question about this group, the peer networking group. So we've only got about 12 or so members. I managed to obtain the list of schools that are in the Palm Beach chapter of the Schools United, and I was wondering whether it would be suitable to just go online and get the tech people's names out of all those schools and solicit them or invite them to the group. What do you think?
Yeah. Yeah.
I
Put your
think-
little investigative
yeah.
hat on.
Go for it. I think that's a great idea.
I'll do that before Friday. Yeah, I'll send out. So I'll just send an invitation to those people introducing the peer group, and that we meet. How about should we call it Should we call it 4 times a year? Like every 3 months? I was thinking maybe the first Tuesday of every third month that we could do this Zoom call. Or would you like to do it more often, every 2 months?
Sure. I don't have a preference, but as long as you get something on a calendar and have it, somewhat structured, I
Yeah.
think it's best. But you don't want to overwhelm somebody's calendar too much.
No, probably every quarter would be good. So if we make it the first, so you make it the first Tuesday of every third month. So it would be, now it's February, so it would be March, May, June, July, August, September, October, November. That works. And then back to February for the Schools United professional development. Good. All right. Well, on that note, I'll send out an invite to every tech person in the Christian schools in the 3 counties that I can find. And we'll see you on Friday.
That's awesome. Exciting. Thank you so much for doing this, Ken. I appreciate it.
Very
Yeah,
welcome.
fantastic.
Thanks for
Appreciate it.
joining. Have a good week.
Take care.
Bye, guys.